It's getting later in the year and there isn't a deer in sight. What's your game plan? I'm Matt Drury and this is another episode of DoD TV. This segment of DoD TV is brought to you by the HME Truck Hitch Game Hoist, making it easy to hang and clean your game no matter where you are. A lack of decent deer movement has never discouraged the mad scientist from cooking up a plan to nab a new mount for his wall. And this episode of DoD TV is no exception. When his Missouri lease starts to see less and less buck traffic, he hops onto the first plane to the Lone Star State in hopes of catching a cold front. With the best part of the season still in full swing over in Texas, I have high hopes Mark will get the encounters he's been looking for.
You know, the movement had really slowed down in the Midwest. I get a call from Bill Hill down in Texas, and he said, boys, you better get down here. We go ahead, zoom back down to Texas, try to see if we can get into the movement and see if we can't salvage this otherwise fairly slow phase.
It's been fun down here in Texas, applying what we've learned over the past 3 decades in the Midwest to a different deer herd. One of the most frequent comments we get when people watch 13, they say, well, how does it apply to Georgia? How does it apply to Virginia? It slides a little bit based on peak of estrus. You would have to take our phases and slide with it. But our peak of estrus, peak breeding, is like the 9th through the 15th of November. Down here, peak breeding is probably 20th, 24th, based on what everyone tells us. So we're sliding back a little bit. We should be in some pretty good movement here. That is a big, big Texas deer. Another buck coming behind you, see? Coming to the opening right now. Oh, yeah.
This is exactly why he went to Texas, because usually when the movement slows down on our farm, the movement is heating up in Texas.
Wow, that is a big, big Texas deer. We thought we had him coming, but he turned on us. We thought we had an awesome encounter. Big deer, really big deer.
One thing I've learned about hunting in Texas, you don't get a lot of crisp, cold mornings. And on the morning of the 19th, it dawned clear and cold, and I could not wait to climb into that blind.
We're going in after the Big Ten again.
We're heading back in. That big, old, gnarly buck is on my mind. I want to make sure that I'm prepared to call and try and lure one of these bucks in, because these bucks are still trying to get with the first available doe, whereas in the Midwest, they're looking for the next available doe. Big difference.
It's cool this morning. We still haven't seen any deer, but it feels like they should be moving. Bedding east and west, big open flat up top. That's been kind of the combination we've seen work. Lots of trails. Everything north of us, we're hunting this on a northwest wind.
I'm sitting there hoping that the Big Ten shows up, and all of a sudden, this buck that I had pictures of early on in the season and I hadn't seen since shows up, and I immediately knew he was another big mature deer. That's the magic of what the rut does for you. Home ranges start to expand, and all of a sudden he pops up.
He's behind that silver bush. I'm gonna grunt at him. Okay. Oh, he's coming. He's coming. Yeah.
You know, at Loophole, we have a scope for every application out there. They all have a few things in common though. Full lifetime warranty, they will perform, period, regardless of the conditions. Twilight Max lens system, what that does for you, give you the perfect sight picture regardless of conditions. And what we've tried to do there is really condense everything down so that the scope that you need is easy to find, easy to identify, and will meet every need that you have out in the field.
Yeah. I'm on him. Lots of blood, lots of blood, lots of blood. He came straight into that call, man. Wow. Thought I heard him crashing right there behind that tree. I thought maybe I saw him crash, but I wasn't sure. I seen a flash of something. Yeah. I was wondering why no penetration, but that shoulder went back. But that arrow had to have clipped those arteries at the tops of those lungs for that kind of blood. That's why we shoot that range extreme. Fairly certain he's down, so we're gonna go check him out. Wow, we got it done here. We sure did, good job.
Things are heating up in the Lone Star State. Dad's got the PSE Carbon Air in hand, and what do you know? That rage goes through the mature Texas buck cage.
Check that out, bub.
I see time.
You see the times?
Yeah, check that out, buddy.
We got a Texas brute down.
You can see him now, Wade.
Oh yeah.
It doesn't matter where you're at. Cold fronts produce the same results. They get those big boys up on their feet a little bit sooner. And if one happens to make that mistake of walking in front of Mark, that's typically a mistake that a whitetail won't make twice because he doesn't live to see another day.
That is why we made the move to the Lone Star State. Look at that. Beautiful sunrise, enjoying the morning here in Texas. We're in Shackelford County on the Stasny Cook Ranch. This lease just continues to get better and better. I absolutely love it down here. And it paid off yet again with a very mature buck. He was all alone. I gave one grunt and he came straight to us. These deer, in my opinion, they call a little bit better than the deer in the Midwest. I mean, they're very aggressive. So when I see a deer in an upwind position, I don't hesitate to call it. Clearly, he was looking for company, came in looking for a fight, and I was able to take him at about 25 yards. Just an awesome, awesome hunt this morning. I couldn't be happier than to sit behind this very mature Shackelford County buck.
We're adding new videos every week, so make sure to click that subscribe button and check out all of our amazing content. This episode of DoD TV was brought to you by MOTV.